Have you ever had a concussion? I've had a few of them, and they're not fun. And as much as we pick on Tua Tagovailoa for the Miami Dolphins, taking 3 and 14 weeks, that should have finished him. But what do you do when you have to deal with a traumatic brain injury, more than a concussion? Let's find out. I know many people that have had health crises. I lost two very important people to me and people that I love very much. Those are my parents. I lost them both to cancer. Cancer came knocking on my door. But thanks to my wife and my family, we slammed it shut. But then came the questions that at first I didn't want to answer. How the hell do I deal with this? And the second big question, how the hell do I work my way back into society? Let's go to Sacramento, California and find some answers. Please help me welcome Kelly Tuttle. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. When I saw that dealing with major health issue and re-entering the world again, yeah, that had me written all over it because pancreatic cancer decided to knock me sideways, and then the surgery happened and my body changed because I no longer have 5 essential organs that are necessary. And like me, there are many others that are like, what the hell is this? Even now, 3 years after surgery, I'm still finding different things that I need to correct about my body and my mind and getting everything to think through. And it's a pleasure to have you on. How did you get into this and helping people deal with major health issues? What got you started?
Well, my story starts with a thunderous clap of metal and shattering of glass. I was driving home from work and I crashed, T-boned another vehicle that pulled out in front of me. And I thought I would, even though it was a really bad wreck, I thought, oh, I'll just shake it off and go to work the next day. And I did, and I worked with registered nurses and nurse practitioners who acutely saw that there was something wrong because I wasn't speaking right. My behavior was different. So they told me to see my general practitioner, which I did the next day, and I was diagnosed with a concussion. I was taken off work for 2 weeks and left with the feeling I'd be better after 2 weeks. I went back to work, pushed hard, even though I had headaches, dizziness, neck pain, fatigue, irritability, exhaustion. Push until one day driving home, I fell asleep at the wheel. And the jarring of my car popping off the road woke me up just in time to slam on my brake before I ran into a tree. And this is how well my brain was working. I decided I would just take a nap in between work and home. And that is not good, and I don't recommend that to anyone sleeping on the side of the road in your car. Fortunately, shortly afterward, I had lunch with a friend who was a neurology nurse practitioner at the time. I was a cardiology nurse practitioner. And she asked me how I was doing. I said I fell asleep at the wheel, but it's okay. I'm taking a nap on the side of the road. She's like, no, that's not okay. And she had me see a physical medicine rehab doctor and get a brain scan. And with some jumping through hoops, because the U.S. health system's difficult to navigate through, I finally saw that specialist, a physical medicine rehab doctor, also known as a physiatrist. They specialize in brain injuries and spinal injuries. And I got onto the right road of recovery, sent to the right therapist and so forth. I was taken off work for 3 months. And then 2 weeks before going back to work again, I was freaking out. Like, what does my brain need
Hmm.
to support its performance so I can take care of my patients?
Yeah.
And it was a really bad place to be. And I didn't want anybody to be in that position. And so when I wrote my book, it was my goal to have in one spot, in one book, easy to read, strategies and tools to support your brain
Right.
while you go back to work, while your brain's healing. And it's also on Audible for people like myself after my brain injury have difficulty with reading and memorizing, so they can listen to the book. But that's where my journey started.
Wow. Wow. Hell of a start, isn't it? I mean that from the heart, and that's incredible. Um, you being here and you telling your story, and thank you for coming on and letting us help tell your story. What surprising strategies aided your brain healing?
Yeah, so sometimes people don't realize that when you have a concussion or a stroke or a brain injury due to a cardiac arrest or monoxide poisoning
Hmm.
or an infection like COVID-19, that it inhibits its processes that you take for granted, like filtering out your sensory. And so I was really surprised how I was sensitive to light and to
Hmm.
sound. And when I learned that, I was able to create external filters for my brain while it was healing, while I was at work, which helped decrease my brain injury symptoms and increase my energy so I could continue to work and focus throughout the day. And that was simply just using things to block fluorescent light over my desk at work, wearing dark glasses on really bad days, wearing noise canceling headphones and earbuds. And even on really bad days, Brian, I would wear the earbuds underneath my headphones to really block out that distracting
Hmm.
conversations around me so I could focus on my patient's charting and decision making. So that made a big impact and was really surprising to me as a patient with a traumatic brain injury of what an issue that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally understand that. Dealing with dealing with cancer, I didn't have a handbook for this. I mean, I lost my dad in 2007 and I lost my mom in 2021, the year I got diagnosed with stage 4.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, I got diagnosed in July of 21, and 2 months later in September I lost my mother. I didn't know how to navigate this.
That's horrible.
It's like I'm saying to my body inside my mind, "What the hell are you doing?" Yeah, and there's a pretty lady behind me named Jody who said, "We'll get you back together." I'm saying, "What?" And then came March 28th in Indianapolis of 22, March 28th, 2022, when we're talking to the surgeon, potential surgeon. I looked him in the eye and I said, "Are you going to get this thing?" He looked at me with a smile and he says, "We'll get it for you." What? Well, 6 days after that, I was under the knife. And it's taken until, I can honestly say, it's taken until now, November of 25, for me to learn how to navigate all the traumatic changes because I got 5 organs gone. Since then, I've had 2 toes amputated, um, stage 3 kidney failure going on. Trying to correct, I'm not trying to correct that. I'm going to correct that, and I'm going to beat it. Just like I beat back pancreatic cancer, I'm going to beat everything else. I think that's the mindset that I started with on the comeback trail, and I've kept that mindset. Is it tough for you to keep that kind of mindset and coming back from such a traumatic experience?
Well, you definitely, when you're experience a traumatic experience or a change in your health, you really have to have a change in mindset. And
Mhm.
um, you really have to have a growth mindset. like you do.
Mhm.
And you also need to have emotional intelligence. So, because there's a lot of grieving in that process, and
Yeah.
you have to be aware of that grieving, address it, and you know, kind of live with it, because it is an ongoing process. You aren't the same person you were before the issue happened.
Hmm.
And you have to learn how to kind of embrace the new person that you are. Like, for example, I was like, go, 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 goals accomplished, traveling, volunteering. Then after my brain injury, I had to stop and slow down and um, embrace more of a slower, intentional lifestyle, more
Hmm.
simplicity, more time at home, more appreciating the people around me, that kind of thing. So there is a big change. And it's not like you need to get over it. It's more
Right.
like you have to weave it into your new life.
Yeah. That's the toughest thing I'm navigating right now, weaving everything into my new life. You know, keeping still the growth mindset, still have that, but still little questions under that. And for you, what are challenges faced by TBI survivors in daily life?
Well, one of the things is getting out of your head. You know, if you're talking about
Mm,
that mind growth, you know, you stay in your head and you hang out with negative Nancy and Bobby Bully telling you you're
yep.
not enough, you're not
Hmm.
getting enough done, you're not healing fast enough, or you're stupid. And you really have to get out of your head. And the number one thing I recommend is journaling and putting all those scary thoughts down on paper, because they become less scary if you're looking at them on paper, and some of them even look stupid. So I would definitely start with journaling, and and then once you write those thoughts down, are they thoughts that you can talk to a friend about, or do you need to take them to your talk therapist, or do you need to take them to your psychologist, or should you share it with your support group? You know, you don't want to be alone. You want to be doing things, getting out of your head into reality,
Yeah.
and then growing from there.
How do you balance roles as a nurse practitioner and a TBI survivor? How do you do that?
It was really hard. So the first 2 years in my recovery, in order for me to work, I had to sleep. So
Mm,
I would get up,
yeah.
go to work. At lunch, I would take a nap at
Hmm.
my lunch break. Then I'd get home after work. I would take a 2 hour nap, get up,
Hmm.
get ready for work, then go back to sleep until I had to start it over again. And then on the weekends, I slept 12 to 14 hours,
Yeah.
plus taking a nap. And basically, I had to let go of seeing friends, being there for my children the first 2 years. And it took a lot. But over time, as my brain healed, I developed more energy and I was able to do more. And I also got smarter. I was able to protect my energy with
Yep.
those external tools to support my brain's healing and performance. But you know what, Brian? Uh, I ended up having to retire early.
Mm,
And I was told by my psychologist that you're probably going to have to retire early because you're not going to be able to keep up. And I wasn't. I wasn't able to keep up with it. I was working 40 plus hours, you know, maybe 50, 60 hours a week. And the workload was just piling up and piling
yeah.
up. And just finally had to retire. And now I'm doing this advocacy work full time instead.
What's a message of hope for those navigating TBI recovery or any major health issue going forward?
Well, you need to have hope and to know that you're not alone, and you should find others going through the same thing you're going, so you can be surrounded by a tribe of people who understand you. And no one understands you better than if you have cancer, another cancer survivor, if you
Right.
have a brain injury, another brain injury survivor. If you're a domestic abuse survivor, another domestic abuse, that kind of thing. So it's really important to find your tribe, know that you're not alone, whether that tribe is virtual or in person. Reach out and create that community, get that support.
Create your own community, folks. This is the 21st century. It can be done. And I'm talking to a wonderful, wonderful person in Kelly Tuttle. Life after the crash. Because remember, after many, many health issues, and the two of us are living proof, there is life after the health issue. Just get to the right people, get inside with the right people, and you will pull through it just like we did. Kelly, it was an honor to have you, my dear. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Brian.